and let's get excited about this game, Danny, with the big news that Bam Adebayo and Goran Dragic will not be playing once again.
Well, I think that something that people can be excited about is I thought the Heat executed and played well in the second half, and if they can build off of that, then this can be at least an entertaining game. I think you and I both have an inclination on where it might go, but remember, it depends a lot on which teams are hitting shots, what kind of shots they're getting, and so there is still a lot to take away from this one, even if it isn't quite what we hoped it would be.
Well, and let's see here. If the Lakers go really cold from three, maybe the Heat will have some new tricks up their sleeves. Some of the things that we talked about, maybe just playing more defensively oriented lineups, for example. So maybe that will jumpstart them. Maybe the Lakers will get a little complacent. And the Heat played very well. Like they played well enough to win offensively in game two. So Danny Green also, his hip injury, maybe that's something that we'll see how well he can go with. And if the Heat win this one game, and then maybe Bam Adebayo can come back for the next game, we could potentially have a series. Although, obviously, that is not the most likely outcome here, but that's why they play the games.
And as expected, given the news, no changes to Miami's starting lineup. Hero, Robinson, Butler, Crowder, and Myers Leonard. Expect Myers Leonard to get the Keith Bogans, meaning he'll play the first few minutes of each half, largely squared up against the Lakers, non-AD big man, and then be phased out in favor of Kelly Olynyk.
Yeah, and what I'm really interested to see is whether Olynyk is going to just play, 16, 17 straight minutes, or if they're going to go with some other kind of an option. Lakers win the tip with Dwight Howard, who supplanted JaVale McGee in the rotation. They throw the alley-oop immediately as Myers Leonard got caught napping. It wasn't that he got caught napping. There was a back screen set, a pretty cursory one, and Jay Crowder was not interested in helping off of Anthony Davis, and they give up a dunk on the first play of the game, trying to get Hero coming off a screen on the near side. Howard did well to step out. Now it's Duncan Robinson. Hero on a two-man game with Robinson, which you don't see much of, with the two shooters interacting, and Hero hits a tough two to tie it. Butler trying to deny James, gets it to him. James off the Howard screen, leaving it for Howard. Good help. There's a big crowd there in the center. That's what the Heat want to do, is plug up that middle. They did not do that when the Lakers made 25 of their first 28 two-pointers. Now Robinson, switched onto by Howard, tries the drive along the baseline. Hero, intercepted.
Nice deflection by Dwight Howard there.
And here's James going right at Leonard, and Myers Leonard with a terrible foul.
Yeah, that was more reminiscent of the foul a guard would make on LeBron James. Of like, oh, I can't really stop him, but I'll try to get out there and not even wrap. And LeBron doesn't affect him in the slightest, even though it was a pretty decent hit there by Myers Leonard.
He tried to grab him, and LeBron is like, no, you won't be grabbing me. It's still, even at 35 years old, James, the force, the strength that he has surprises guys.
Well, and that's another storyline for this game three is whose finals MVP resume gets stronger. I mean, we've seen Anthony Davis put up some really crazy numbers in the first two games. LeBron, no slouch in those respects. And Anthony Davis's defense might be the differentiator here.
Oh, the Lakers blew this. Oh, and a big dunk by Butler as LeBron and Danny Green failed to communicate well enough on that interaction with Butler. And the Heat, part of their great offensive performance in game two was just how well they were cutting against that Lakers switching. They're trying to front Davis here with Leonard coming over behind. Green penetrating. Here's KCP. Deflected. Still 5 to shoot. James on the attack. Into the lane. Jump stop. Off the glass. Beautiful.
And a great late clock attack there. LeBron didn't settle for the jump shot. Got into the lane. Got a nice little floater.
Now it's Butler against Davis. Leonard. He'll take it from way out. Oh, yeah.
Shades of Game 4 of the 2018 Western Conference Finals.
We're going to reference that literally every time he does something good for the rest of his career, I think.
Yep, I'm fine with that.
KCP off the screen from Davis. He'll drive and set up Danny Green wide open in the corner, and that misses. But the Lakers getting decent penetration to keep the wheels moving from those guards who don't do a ton of playmaking. Crowder screening Robinson.
And surprisingly, Robinson's screen wasn't ready to shoot, didn't have his feet set. That was why he didn't get the jump shot there.
Now it's Hero, has James on his back, and he's rejected. No chance there for Hero. You let LeBron get that 1 foot takeoff on the chase down, he's going to just swallow guys up. Now they lob it to Howard. Help comes from Crowder, and he commits the foul. Should be non-shooting.
Yeah, it should be non-shooting, and foul trouble is something to keep an eye on in these because both these teams, their offense can work well when they're getting to the line regularly. Miami's already committed 2 fouls. The Lakers have committed none.
LeBron looking quite spry early. They try to screen Anthony Davis, but Leonard is there to stop that. Here's Green. Throws it a million miles in the air. Now Green will try again from the corner. Instead, real estate he's a bigger fan of, but he stepped out of bounds.
Yeah, I think Green pulled his right foot there. Oh no, it was his left.
Yeah, the left foot came down. You see, actually, the lack of spacing with Howard has led to some problems early for the Lakers. Here's Crowder setting up the three-pointer as Robinson drove and put Howard into difficulty, having to help off of Leonard. Davis trying to post up. Crowder swims around, and he's called for the foul.
And that is the 3rd team foul on the Miami Heat so far.
And is that a second on Crowder? It is, because he fouled Dwight Howard earlier.
I think they gave one of those to Duncan Robinson, actually.
Oh, okay. And now
And
Howard crushes a big dunk that we did not get to see exactly how it happened. But I think what it was Leonard was trying to come over on the strong side, and Howard got behind the zone. Oh, nice play there by Butler. He waited until the last possible second, faked the shot, and then left it for Leonard in the easy floater. Caldwell Pope, they still have not successfully got it into Davis yet. Now they do, but he was being fronted, and it went over his head just a little bit.
Yeah, and part of fronting there, you want to occupy the guy's kind of front side, so he doesn't have full catch radius, and that's what happened there.
Butler against Davis, not an advantage matchup. Robinson, backdoor, scores easily.
And again, the off-ball activity from Miami, starting with the 3rd quarter in Game 2, has really generated some great looks.
James gets it tipped away. Butler is ahead of the field. He's going to get his second dunk of the game and put it at a 16-8. Miami advantage early, just the start that they needed here. As recall, they went up 23-10 in Game 1, but the Lakers came back. That was with Bam Adebayo available, of course, and they were never really in it in Game 2. So this might be an unexpected start to the game, but maybe you're someone who expected it and you wanted to do a little bit of betting, and bookies.com is awesome for that.
They absolutely are, and bookies.com is all about information. And for me, that starts partially because I'm more inclined for this, are their expert picks. And I really liked something I thought was fascinating that Adam Thompson, who's been absolutely on fire in overall, he's over 66% now, did in this game. So he picked the Lakers over the Heat on the money line, but he picked the Heat over the Lakers on the spread. So basically, that's a very specific bet that the margin, he got it at 9.5. So that meant that he thought the overall margin that the Heat would keep it close, but that they wouldn't win the game. And if you can pull off that kind of a double, it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and bookies.com, of course, has great deals to click through to legal betting in your state and get some free money, which is awesome these days. So let's take some questions here for the first time.
How would you guys rate the Frank Vogel hire, and how has he coached the team? I think he's done a very good job overall. The leaning on bigs has worked out better, especially with Dwight Howard being more there physically than I anticipated. He's handled the big personalities in the room very well, it appears, and so I think he's done a very good job, better than I expected.
No, certainly, and I think he's gone to a number of different strategies. He's largely found the right formula with his bench guys. He's gotten a lot out of Rajon Rondo, and most importantly, Zach Lowe wrote an article about this, that he just got them to buy in defensively from the very beginning of the season. And when you get LeBron James and Anthony Davis buying in defensively. Everyone else is going to follow. They have really good defensive personnel. They identified the way for this team to be great, and really, he's done an outstanding job. I mean, I think if you're going to retroactively do a Coach of the Year award after the playoffs were over, he would probably be right up there.
Yeah, especially considering how they lost the first game of the series a couple times, but they played better after that point. And let's see. Who's more egregious at pushing off CJ McCollum or Jason Tatum? I think Tatum is more egregious. CJ does it plenty, but Tatum, it's become more obvious to me as I've gotten attuned in these playoffs to seeing it. He's totally blatant with it. Oh, Dazzy says bar exam tomorrow, but watching the Lakers with our commentary, such as the way of life. Best of luck on the bar exam. That was the most stressed out I've ever been, but then passing it was the most relieved I've ever been. I think relief is the word that I would use, but best of luck on that. It is always a challenging experience, and I'm sure that it is very different right now.
The most stressed out you ever been? Wow.
I've been lucky. I haven't had to deal with like a lot of family related health stuff and that kind of stuff.
Well, no, I mean, obviously, I assumed you were talking about from a professional standpoint there, but
Yeah.
uh,
Oh yeah. I mean, because California, like the California bar, is just such a pain, and I didn't want to. My idea was I wanted to work really hard because I didn't want to kind of like half-ass it and then have to take it again. So I just worked insanely hard.
as long as I lucked out and corporations wasn't on there, and that was the only thing I wasn't that good at. And no wills and trusts, actually. Those are like the two things that I was like worst at. Here's Davis in the post, double teamed as he lost it, and it's going to be Miami's ball. They finally enter the ball into AD successfully. I mean, that's really important here, Danny. They're posting up AD on pretty much every possession, and he hasn't even gotten the ball successfully once. Crowder going to a tough fader. That was not a good shot.
Yeah, and that was with 13 on the shot clock. They could have worked for something else, tried to get some help.
James putting Crowder in the mix, draws the foul. And that will now be a second foul on Jay Crowder, who has played well.
And that also means free throws the rest of this quarter for the Lakers, and there are 7 minutes left in the quarter.
Yeah, Lakers with 5 turnovers. That's more than half as many already as they had in the entirety of Game 2, which was one of the highest scoring games in terms of points per possession that we've seen in the finals.
And not only that, but the Lakers, most of their turnovers were dead ball. They were offensive fouls and whatnot. They've already had 2 live ball turnovers, both of which I believe became easy Miami Heat buckets.
And James has added the feel contact and throw him up some bullshit to his game in these playoffs, and probably should have done it earlier, frankly, but he never needed to.
Yeah, with the amount of contact that he gets, and like you and I have talked about Giannis potentially eventually getting there too.
Here's Duncan Robinson. That is a tough launch going to his right. So a couple of difficult shots for Miami coming out of the timeout. LeBron engaging Hero, sets up Danny Green, did not take the open three, and drives into nowhere. That was a record scratch. Now it's Davis against Andre Iguodala. Help coming off of Danny Green from Butler. Late in the clock here, Butler switching on to AD. AD's going to just have to jack it. No, instead it's Green tried to step back. This is great defense here by the Heat, and a good box out by Leonard to complete the possession. Noteworthy that Miami has stayed in the man-to-man, and here's another gun by Robinson, and he was not open.
Yeah, that was deep and contested, and it wasn't a straight up and down jump by Duncan Robinson.
I mean, he's such a good shooter that sometimes you just have to commit to the shot, thinking that you're open, and you're just not every once in a while. Here's Davis. Nice job by Iguodala, and another turnover force, the 6th already. Now Iguodala pushing it as AD went for a dumb gamble in the background. Here is Robinson again. That's 3 in a row that he's missed now. He thought he got fouled on that one. Here's LeBron. Cut off nicely by Butler. Good no call. Now it's a 3-on-2. They got to get it to Butler here. Instead, it's Robinson up to Butler, and it was too late. Robinson just can't get open for a 3. Now he drives into 2-point range, and he's going to get fouled finally.
Hey, it's a 2-shot Duncan Robinson foul, Nate.
Man,
we talked about that in game 2. He very rarely gets fouled for a 2-shot foul. And I mean, Miami, that's already 7 forced turnovers, 4 of them live ball for Miami in the early going. The Lakers have taken 7 shots from the field and turned it over 7 times. Per RT Hoops, their turnover rate is an even 50%.
And they haven't made a three yet, have they?
The Lakers have not. They've only taken 2 and they've missed both of them. Danny Green missed both of them.
Yeah, and all these turnovers, we're seeing them come in as LeBron likely is going to leave here. We're seeing these turnovers happen on plays where they're trying to drive in. There's just too much traffic. So it's really
So
been a defensive start here for Miami that's looked so good. And we forget with the ease with which the Lakers have scored at times in these playoffs that their half-court offense can get a little bit clunky. And now, particularly with LeBron out of the game, they still got the 2 bigs in as well. Interested to see how this goes here. Iguodala still guarding Anthony Davis. Iguodala with those long arms and good hands, and now Davis just throws it away. This is incredible. They've turned it over on more than 50% of their possessions.
and that's 4 turnovers for AD, and LeBron had 3 before he came out.
Here's Butler going right at KCP, and we saw Jimmy Butler have a lot of success on drives like that in game 2 where they just didn't want to help, and he just took advantage of a weaker defender. Rondo trying to nash it under the basket. Didn't really get much out of that. Kuzma trying to enter it to AD. Butler hanging around so they can't do that. Now here he is in help. Another turnover. Oh, sorry. Forgive me. AD turned it over by the charge before he could turn it over with the pass. It's 5 turnovers already. Anthony Davis is one of the lowest turnover players really in NBA history, and that's a pretty obvious charge and also a terrible pass. So this
It's possible that's his 4th, and it's just that our box scores are delayed. Worth noting, but that's still ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, this is 9 turnovers for the Lakers already here.
Unreal.
And 8 field goal attempts. And they've had an offensive rebound, too. Kendrick Nunn is in now. Robinson getting it back to Butler. Pick and roll with Olynyk. They'll switch that. Nunn on the drive has to kick it back to Butler. And we saw that in game 1, Danny, where AD surprised guys in the mid-range with a contest. Now the Heat don't know who they have, and they give up an open jumper to Kuzma, but it misses.
Yeah, and Kuzma can shoot without passing, so that can work out in terms of mitigating turnovers.
Olynyk looking to drive into Davis. And
that's Davis's second foul.
Rondo calling everyone together to talk about what's going wrong so far here. But yeah, what a nightmare start for Davis.
Yeah, I assume Vogel's going to keep him in just for another couple minutes until LeBron gets back. But yeah, I mean, the Lakers, and this is largely, to me, driven by the Heat. I think the Heat have done an excellent job pressuring Davis, making those passes hard, and they've been trying to force it in anyway. And Miami hasn't given away too much by doing that. Now it looks like it's going to be a shorter rest for LeBron, and he's coming in for Anthony Davis.
Yeah, and I mean, I think some of that is foul driven, but you see Steve Kerr even do this with Steph Curry once in a while. If you're just playing so poorly, just sit down for just a second and kind of reset mentally.
Yeah, remember Carlisle famously did it with Luka Doncic in game 1 of their first round series against Clippers when Doncic was throwing it all over the gym, and he was a lot better after that.
So this is really more what the Lakers would be doing at the start of the second quarter with this unit, with Markieff Morris and LeBron and Kuzma all in the front court, really 3 power forwards together. Now Iguodala is guarding LeBron. Rondo, good job by Nunn getting over the screen, trying to post up LeBron here. Let's see where the help is going to come from. Looks like it's Hill. Hill just hanging out along the baseline. LeBron just holding. Rondo will load up. That's long, and nice job by Hero getting back in. That's how your guards have to rebound, because Kuzma had that.
Yeah, and Hero didn't box anybody out, but he got into the action, grabbed that skide for that rebound.
Nunn swings it around. This is a very low offensive group here for Miami. Hero, quick cut, hook shot, misses. That's a nice cut, though.
Tough shot. Nice cut, though. Yeah.
There's LeBron. Oh, he just went right past Olynyk, but then they're going to get a tripping foul. I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, so they're going to say he stepped on the foot of Olynyk on his spin move. I don't think this should be a foul, though. I think Olynyk is kind of just standing there. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, that
Yeah.
shouldn't be a foul.
No.
Now, maybe they're saying Iguodala reached in and got him.
And that's two free throws. I mean, I don't think I would challenge that as Spo, but I also think it was incorrectly called.
The cat's meowing. He didn't like the call either. Come here, buddy.
And we've also seen some missed free throws already for the Lakers. After that make, they are 2 of 5 from the free throw line.
Yeah, 10 of 17 only in game 2, so that trend continuing. Here's Olynyk at the elbow. Couple of screens set for Hero. Now he'll engage Nunn. Said this continuity offense from the Heat is really beautiful, but that time Nunn threw it away. He's had a couple of bad turnovers. LeBron going right into Olynyk, and yet another foul in favor of LeBron James here in this first quarter.
And 9 minutes into this game, the Lakers have committed as many turnovers as they did in all of game 2. Because I believe they ended with 9. I know they were at 9 late. Completely. I mean, and a lot of that, I mean, I've said this before, but I think a lot of that is Miami doing a really good job.
Yeah, Miami just got to avoid turning the ball over. This is an extremely limited group. And recall that Butler played 45 minutes in game 1, and I think he only ended up -3 in the end. So the Heat will take a timeout.
And we can answer some questions.
I'm going to see if I can get this guy to lay down here. He gets agitated when I get all excited calling the game. It's pretty funny.
So how much longer do you think AD playing the way he does extends LeBron's career? I think LeBron's career just mostly is about his body cooperating. I think that's very similar to Kobe, where it's just like when you reach the point where you just can't really do it anymore. But what it does is it keeps the Lakers a more viable championship contender whenever it is that the cyborg ages a little bit beyond where he would be. And so it's not necessarily about extending LeBron's career, it's about extending their championship window.
Yeah, and I've been trying to figure out for a long time, what's going to be the year that LeBron declines. And maybe some thought it would be last year, but having as much time off as he did seems to have really helped him to get back into it.
And something you and I wondered about, and we saw this last year, is just that his defensive effort game by game in the regular season was a lot lower, but then this year it was up, and he still has plenty of energy for the postseason. So that is an important takeaway as well. Will the Pistons escape the pit of mediocrity within the next decade? I think they will. That's a long time for a team to be there. I've heard good things about Troy Weaver. He doesn't have much of an individual resume yet. It's been more in the, below another GM. But generally speaking, teams get enough bites at the apple during that period of time that you wouldn't expect it. Now, if this were a team with, and we'll see, maybe the Hornets ownership or Pistons ownership ends up being more destructive, we'll see what Tom Gores does. But I think generally my assumption is that teams can make it out within 10 years. Somebody asked your most stressful professional moment, if you want to answer that.
Oh man, I can't off the top of my head. Nothing. I've been lucky. I haven't had too much stress professionally. I only had one job between law school and when I decided to quit that and become a full-time podcaster.
Oh, I had plenty more stressful jobs. Yeah, I don't talk about those a ton though. Oh, this is a good question for you. You would know this better than I. Did Michael Jordan retain as much of his explosiveness as Braun has at age 35?
I would say no. Compared to both of their peaks, I would say no.
Does Solomon Hill need more run by spell? No, I don't think so. I mean, he's so limited offensively, and then Hill can help defensively. I would rather see more Derrick Jones Jr. And they have, Miami, even without Dragic, and Bam, they still have a lot of options on the wing. So I don't think Solomon Hill needs to play more than he has. Can the finals ratings impact the new salary cap? No. And basically because that's all already negotiated. It could theoretically in the future, if we're looking out far enough for the next negotiated TV deal. And this year actually, because I know there have been times that people have talked about how a shorter playoffs, like series running shorter affects revenue, but I think that's more about the gate in person rather than television receipts. So like not getting 7 games of gate, that's sort of a circumstance. But there is nothing like that now because there are no fans.
All right, we're back here. He's going to continue with this same group as we miss live action to see some ABC stars. Tyler Hero way short on that jumper. He has not been able to get great looks so far. James back to goal against Iguodala. Tries to leave it for Kuzma. That was a very speculative pass. Now Hero going to try it against 3 guys in LeBron. What a sprint back by LeBron James. And hopefully Hero is okay underneath. It looks like he is. But yeah, James, after that turnover, credit him for at least sprinting back to make up for it. Hero
Yeah, and
will continue being
LeBron
aggressive.
LeBron fell right on Hero's hip. I hope that's okay.
Hero again as we miss more live action. This is 3 times they've done this to us now. But he missed. That's all I can tell you. Rondo pick and roll with Morris. Trying to set up Caruso. No spacing right now for the Lakers at all. Here's Kuzma over Hero, and he bails him out with the 3-pointer. That was not a good possession, but that's a place where the Lakers potentially attack with the size advantage of Kuzma against Hero.
And this lineup's even more. I mean, Kendrick Nunn has to do a lot. There aren't that many even good dribblers on the floor right now for Miami.
Nunn jacking a 3. And Hill, what a rebound between 2 Lakers. And I think we're going to get, a loose ball foul on the Lakers?
I think a loose ball foul. The Lakers, though, have committed. They're not at 5 yet. So actually, but Miami's close to the bonus now after a couple of fouls.
Yeah, so we'll see if Butler is going to come back. He
He
has.
is.
Yeah, you and I were a little critical that they played him 45 minutes when that game was not really within reach for them in game 2. Because you see how much they struggle to score without him. Butler into the lane, tough fadeaway, and he breaks that Miami deadlock. I don't think Miami scored a point while he was off the floor. Try to go the small pick and roll with Rondo. Rondo into the lane, kicks it out. Here's Caruso. Kuzma. And that's a great rebound by Butler. This production is awful, Danny. I really can't deal with it. Like the low angle camera, not even showing stuff as they kick it out. Quick 3 from Iguodala. That just barely rims out. Rondo with the screen from James. They get Nunn switched on to James, who's now going to try and post up. Butler coming with the double. They swing it around. Markieff over Olynyk in the corner. 2 3-pointers from the left corner now by the Lakers, getting them back into contact here.
Yeah, it's now a 6-point margin with a minute to go.
Olynyk trying to post up. Now Butler wants to just take Morris one-on-one. Gives it to Olynyk, and that is a bad foul by Kyle Kuzma. And I don't know if they're going to actually grant free throws to Olynyk here, are they?
They're in the bonus. So
Oh, okay.
I think so. No, the box score calls that a shooting foul. Wow.
Yeah, that's.
Oh, and to follow up on what you said before, the Heat did not score while Jimmy Butler was on the bench. Technically, Olynyk hit a free throw after he was subbed out, but the foul occurred while Jimmy Butler was in the game.
And yeah, looking at this Lakers shot chart, it's like, where are all the shots? And then you're like, oh yeah, right, they've turned the ball over half the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only a 75 offensive rating right now for the Lakers.
And a 75 offensive rating when you're turning the ball over on 42% of your possessions actually isn't that terrible. Like they have 58% true shooting. or sorry, 60% true shooting, something like that. And so, I mean, that considering how terrible their possession of the ball's been.
Caruso gets Iguodala switched onto him. Morris feeling it again, and he's run
Oh, is
into.
that a 3-shot foul?
Yep, 3 throws it shall be for Markieff Morris, and that one is very, very dubious again. I mean, we'll see if Olynyk takes like the unnecessary slide into him. Yeah, no, that's a foul.
Yeah,
When they show that angle, he clearly runs his foot into Morris's, and
right call.
that shows you the power of just having hit a 3-pointer. The next time they over rotate on you a little bit. Yep, clear foul. Morris can't convert on the first one though.
And that is Olynyk's first foul. I think that the one that we talked about before with the trip that was called on Andre Iguodala. 2 out of 3 for Markieff Morris.
So Heat'll have a chance for the 2-for-1 here. Butler at range looking for Olynyk. Tough for the Heat to get a quick shot though with their personnel, and they're not going to get the 2-for-1. Hero trying to turn the corner. He can't. Olynyk, he's switched on to Butler now against James. They're super late clock. Butler going to try and fade away. Tough fade away, and he barely draws iron. Great defense by the Lakers switching group that time. That could be very effective against this Miami team, and they couldn't get those quick slips that they got in the third quarter of game 2. Here's Caruso into the teeth. That sets up James. He's going to drive. Good help from Nunn. They are definitely over-helping, but Kuzma makes them pay. That's the right strategy for Miami defensively, but 3 3-pointers and a foul on Markieff Morris shooting a 3 has gotten the Lakers back into it here, trailing only by 3 despite all the turnovers.
And the Lakers did something on that possession that I absolutely loved. Even though they were taking the last shot, they started attacking earlier, and what that meant was that Miami had to go into a turn. Remember that LeBron had Jimmy Butler closing out on him. That's why he pump faked and drove. It wasn't like Jimmy Butler was standing still. He generates the help. Kuzma gets a wide open corner 3 to cut the margin to 3 at the end of the quarter.
Yeah, LeBron 8 points, 3 assists, 2 blocks, 4 turnovers. That leads the Lakers, and Kuzma has hit a couple of big threes as well. For Miami, Butler 8 points on 4 of 5, 3 assists, 2 steals. He's +9, but in the 2 minutes he sat, they're outscored by 6.
Yeah. If you're the Lakers, do you retain Kuzma or Morris next year? They have Kuzma under contract. So, I mean, I think my general rule with players like that is it depends on the offers that are on the table. I think they could probably get somebody who is a better fit for the LeBron-Davis combination than Kuzma. And remember, Kuzma, he has a lot of team control, but he's going to be properly paid soon. Not that that matters a ton to the Lakers. They can print money. Morris, again, it depends on the offers that you're getting. Now, remember that with non-bird rights, you can only give a guy basically a 20% raise, and then otherwise you have to dip into a different exception. So I would say if you could get Morris back for that, yeah, absolutely. If you can do that, no problem. But if it takes the mid-level, I'm thinking they could probably do better. I'm not sure of that, but that's how I'm thinking. Let's see. Would Courtney Lee be a good free agent target for the Lakers in free agency? I still believe that there might be something left in the tank for Courtney Lee, but I would say no for anything other than the minimum because the Lakers need, I would say what they should be using their limited other resources on is like maybe another guy who can handle in the pick and roll, who can shoot next to LeBron. Maybe that guy ends up being Rondo, but I'd like to have one more. And then or like maybe a higher end, like a guy who could potentially be a part of their closing 5. And I don't think that's Courtney Lee. So yeah, I think he could be a part of it, but I don't think you commit serious resources to it.
Yeah, Lee, I think, is looking at probably a non-guaranteed minimum deal going forward here. He's really struggled to stay healthy the last 2 years.
Exactly. I can answer this question on why are the Heat only up 3? Remember, they've turned the ball over a couple times themselves. They have no offensive rebounds, and the Heat are shooting 45% from the field, 29% from three. So like their offensive rating themselves is a 113, but it's a 113 when you consider all the turnovers. So their half court offense has not been particularly efficient, especially when Butler's off the floor, obviously.
Yeah, so Vogel's rotations are going to be a little off now, and we'll see whether they just take LeBron off right now and put AD back in and give LeBron a little bit of a rest. I'm curious to see how many minutes LeBron is going to play. I mean, clearly, this is a game as the Lakers where you go for it pretty hard because you don't want to be up only 2-1 and then have Bam Adebayo potentially coming back in the next game.
Oh, we're back.
Yes, we are. They are cramming the commercials in here, man. There's Butler at range trying to set up a Olynyk. Markieff Morris did well to get through it. So there's still James on the floor with AD out. And this has been a very good defensive group for the Lakers. This is another late clock possession. Butler can't get it, has to throw up a pathetic attempt on the baseline. Now James setting up Morris off the Caruso ping, and the Lakers have tied it with the fast break. And now Rondo with the intercept. Nobody was paying attention. Here's Kuzma, and they are lucky, the Heat are, to have dodged that bullet.
And the Lakers now 4 of 10 from three, so they've kind of rebounded in that respect.
Yeah, Butler against Kuzma. I think he needs to try to attack a little bit more one-on-one here. There they get the quick slip for Iguodala. Excellent work that time with Iguodala faking the screen, and Markieff Morris pointed someone to go guard him, but nobody did. Heat now looking zone-like. Rondo on the cut. Caruso swinging it around. James, nice closeout by Nunn, but that's Morris open again. He can't get that one.
Yeah, and that's 3 open threes, I think, for the Lakers so far already in this quarter, 2 of which have missed.
Here's Hero, another tough mid-range. That's just not a good shot. And he had Butler on a cut, too. Here's Morris leaving it up for LeBron, but Hero did well to knock it away. 4 on 3 for Miami. Hero comes back as LeBron took his sweet time getting back, and it just rims out after 3 bounces for Miami. They're going to have to shoot better than this if they want a chance. That's surely a blocking foul on Iguodala, and it is.
Yeah. And so Kuzma gets to go to the line for the potential to put the Lakers up 1. And in a stat that I'm sure will be cited by certain people in a couple days, LeBron is currently +4, Anthony Davis -13.
Yeah, Iguodala, he's not that's not Andre Iguodala to try to take a charge. He doesn't do that. I don't know what he was really thinking there. So Crowder returning for him. Lakers with their first lead, I think, of the entire game, but certainly their first lead since the early moments. Caruso denying on Nunn, just making it a little harder to run the offense. Lakers switching it. Nunn leaving it in for Olynyk, and his hook shot misses. He was worried that he was going to get a 3-second call. He had to shoot quickly. Now LeBron, there's no help at the rim at all. He tried to dunk it with the left and then runs into the stanchion. Butler going right in. He'll kick it out. Crowder's three-pointer. Can't get the lid off the rim for the Heat from 3.
And that's 2 misses by Miami when LeBron was never back on the play. And they could have called LeBron for a lane violation there. He was in the lane for an eternity after the Lakers had the ball.
I think it actually only applies as
when you're in the half court.
Yeah, I think it's actually only once the ball is crossed half court. I might have heard that somewhere or another.
You would know that far better than I would.
Yeah, LeBron tried to get and then he kind of tweaked that left ankle a little bit running into the stanchion after the missed layup. But as we know, LeBron has bionic ankles. I don't expect him to be affected. Kuzma against Crowder. Wants someone to come get the ball, but late clock, he's going to have to create it now. Gets the switch with Robinson into the lane. Help comes. Open 3. Morris. That misses. We've seen a number of Olynyk closeouts on Morris. None against Caruso. Good job by the Lakers getting back that time. Now they blew it, though. Total miscommunication between Morris and LeBron, and Frank Vogel is not happy to see that in the slightest.
You know what Miami's offense should be? Have whoever Markieff Morris is guarding slip a screen. just constantly. Like
And
that,
yeah,
it was exactly the same play. And Olynyk is a great person to have the ball on there because Olynyk can make that quick read and he has the size to pass it over LeBron. We should probably talk about bookies.com.
indeed we should with the Heat back in front here. And go to bookies.com/NBA and you can get live updating odds from them. That's one of the best features. You don't have to keep hitting reload and worry that when's the last time I hit reload. It's just all right there for you to continually update so you can get the best possible deals. It shows you the various odds makers so you can shop around a little bit if there's a certain line that you are looking for, and their expert picks also are a nice resource.
Absolutely. And whether you're doing spreads, money lines, totals, or parlays, and especially great for fans over the age of 21 in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, anywhere else where online sports betting is legal, which you and I both think will be more places pretty soon. So you can make sure you have bookies.com/NBA as a bookmark. You can do that way, and you can follow them at bookies on Twitter.
So let's take a look at some of our comments here. How much of a difference would a healthy Dragic and Bam have made in this series? I mean, we only really know what happened in the first half of game one. And I thought Miami just played exceedingly poorly in that first half. I mean, what I thought was it was going to be a 7-game series. You picked the same. I mean, I think just based on the first half of game one and how well AD and LeBron have played and how much trouble the Heat have had stopping the Lakers, that maybe I would have said it would be 6 instead of 7. But, it's really hard to know because we don't have much of a sample on it.
So we got a couple questions after the LeBron thing about the stanchion. Is it closer than normal or anything else? And then we also got a potential theory from B Hills, and I actually think his theory might be right, which is so basically he said that might be fewer cameramen on the baseline make players less aware of the stanchion. I think that might be right. I think it might be that you think you have all that space, but you don't have it everywhere, and so that leads to players getting involved in it a little more often. But I think it's normal or close to it. It might be even a little further back. It seems like it's far back to me, but it might be the optical illusion of that weird multicolored floor messing with my brain. What is the minimum duration offseason for a good 2021 offseason? So the idea basically being like full recovery. So what's interesting is so we're really focused only on, to me, the teams that made the playoffs, because even the bubble, like the seeding games ended. That was at the end of August, I believe, was the end of the seeding
No,
games.
it was earlier than that. It was like
Or was early,
August.
it was
It was like
mid-August, like
August
August 18th.
18th. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we're gonna use after that, I would say so. Normally the playoffs start in April, and then the regular season starts in October. So then 6 months from then. So let's make it 5 because it could be a little shorter. So
Yeah. So that
that would
would
be
be
January. That would be January 18th.
Yeah.
If you cut it by a month. So, and I think we're gonna get that.
All right. So
Somebody,
yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
oh, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was going to transition back into actual basketball here.
What is that?
The ABC producers would like to know that also. Heat going with the 2-3 look, and this is interesting here. Yeah, I'm not sure what they're in. This might be a new zone defense from them. I don't know if this is the 2-3, but same result as Anthony Davis, freshly back in the game, hits a corner 3. At a minimum, they don't have Crowder up at the top of the zone, and now Butler goes right through Danny Green into the stanchion himself.
And I think Danny Green got a little bit tied up in that sort of handoff action and just created a little bit too much separation. It's possible he and Caruso miscommunicated, but he was just behind the play a little bit too much. Jimmy Butler just drives straight to the basket.
Yeah, so this is free throws for Miami. I imagine they're going to stick with this zone defense, and it does look like they had Crowder lower to the baseline, perhaps to help with the rebounding, and as Butler missing the first free throw. So I'm not sure if this is their standard 2-3 or it's more of a matchup look than that.
Kuzma and Rondo talking about defensive free throw rebounding positioning. something we've noticed before.
Yeah, again, they've got AD way down the floor. And yeah, Caruso, I'd probably rather have Caruso as a box out guy than
Well,
Rondo if I have to choose.
and like I think part of the reason they have Rondo there is maybe they could do a hit ahead pass, but it
Uh-oh.
seems
Woo!
there's a hit ahead pass.
Yeah, another half court alley oop from Rondo to AD, reverse slam off the front. And a
And
big part of why
think
that's
about
possible is none scores is that there's more spacing on the floor now. You didn't have the second big there to lead to help. Sorry, what were you going to say there?
I was going to say AD's first two catches after coming in. One is in the opposite corner, kind of lightly guarded. The other is off a spin in transition. So we haven't seen anything where he's just like stagnant yet, stagnant around the basket, where Miami can send extra guys to attack him.
Yeah, so Lakers with the lead here, 34-33. And let's see if this looks like man-to-man here. Caruso will just take the three over Olynyk. He and Robinson had switched on the backside, I guess. Again, I'm still trying to figure out what the Heat are doing here defensively. Robinson switched onto by Caruso. Looping pass for Olynyk. That misses short. And it's going to be a loose ball foul called on Danny Green in the rebounding action. Green tried to box out.
I didn't see much there from Danny Green.
He pinned his shoulder with his hand.
Okay. Good call. I didn't see that.
Yeah, that was sort of one of those auto trigger fouls. None, again, being denied well by Caruso, who's done a really good job with that. Robinson in the lane. Crowder is wide open all day to shoot that one as Kuzma had to help out on the drive by Robinson. And I thought he was maybe a little too aggressive there.
You mean standing underneath the basket?
Rondo, no advantage gain on the pick and roll. And then he just throws it right to his coach, Frank Vogel. I think he saw Vogel's white shirt out of the corner of his eye and just threw it to him.
Nick Nurse is everywhere.
Now it's Butler going right into Danny Green. Again, no help at all. And, I mean, I think Miami now back in front. They got to just keep doing that, man. Jimmy Butler just going right at guys is working great. Butler now switching off at Danny Green. Kuzma on the drive, setting up Caruso. No, pass and crash in favor of Jay Crowder underneath.
Yeah, so they called that foul on Kuzma. That is Kuzma's third foul.
And Kuzma's been okay. But, yeah, I mean, he jumped in the air to get the passing angle and then was out of control and slammed into Crowder.
Though Crowder did move into his path late.
Looked like KCP coming back in to replace Kyle Kuzma. He's guarding Duncan Robinson. Now Butler, they get the switch, and Davis intimidated Butler into missing. Butler not aggressive on some of those plays right around the rim. KCP missing it. Butler out of a cannon for that loose ball, and then he picks up the loose ball foul on KCP. Another one where I think it could have just been a no call, frankly, because Butler just, and I don't understand how that's a foul on KCP either. Like, Butler gets the ball, but he continues to go right into KCP's path. Like, that wasn't a case where Butler got to the loose ball first. Yeah, Butler, I think he could have gotten that shot up, and you can tell that he was not happy with himself for passing it.
Yeah, and Caruso made a nice read, basically like he couldn't affect the shot, so you might as well guess where the pass would be.
Robinson with KCP on him, and I think they're going to actually get KCP for the foul here, despite his overt reaction.
And I think that is the because a couple of them were offensive. Well, I think Miami's about one foul away from the bonus.
Olynyk, they have not let him get going at all. Butler on the drive against Morris, and he's fouled again. Jimmy Butler, this is one of the better offensive series that I can recall him having, and he's done well to attack the Lakers' strategy of really not helping out very much. And Olynyk did a nice job of shoving Anthony Davis so he couldn't come over to help.
These are Butler's, I think, third and fourth free throws of this game. But he's already taken 7 shots, 12 points from the field, and he's also set up a couple other Heat players for good looks.
Another free throw from Butler. 30th pick in the 2011 draft by Chicago, famously. And LeBron's still on the bench here. Crowder trying to front Davis and push him out on the floor, but it's a lot harder to bring help on that front. KCP tries to draw the foul, then he just throws it away. I think, though, they're going to say that Crowder got a hand on it as that pass went along the baseline.
Yeah, and Caruso pulled his hands back, which makes me think that he saw somebody else touch it.
Well, luckily the referees did as well. Rondo has been a relative non-factor here, working with Davis in the pick and roll. Has to go for this difficult step back. That's way short. Heat doing a much better job on the defensive glass in this game. Butler going for the easy mid-ranger over Markieff Morris, whom he has abused, and Frank Vogel, yet another timeout. He's going to surely get LeBron back into this game now, as LeBron has sat for over 6 minutes now.
Well, yeah, we haven't seen LeBron and Davis on the floor together.
Is that right? No, maybe that's not right, actually, because Davis didn't start this quarter, did he?
No, he didn't. LeBron started it.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen LeBron and AD on the floor together since the 5:26 mark of the first quarter.
Yeah, and that's when the Lakers really cook, is when both of those two guys are out there. Yeah, AD, he is negative 17 right now in 11 minutes.
From Antoine D, if next season starts sufficiently late, would NBA players be contractually allowed to play in Europe for a few months? I believe the answer to that is no. If you are under contract. Now, if a player is a free agent, I believe they could do whatever they want. So I think that it's possible you could see a player or two, because I think that the thing is there are certain activities that you're not allowed to do without the authorization of your team, and I believe one of them is like competitive. I would guess that one of them is competitive basketball.
Yeah,
like with somebody else.
I mean, if a player wanted to, he'll be under contract until free agency starts. If he wanted to not sign another contract, then he would be free to go do whatever he wanted to for as long as he wanted to, and then
and we saw that during the
contract.
lockout.
Yeah.
Remember that happened during the lockout. Some guys signed with China and a few other places, thinking that they didn't know how long it was going to be. But you usually can't be under contract with an NBA team and then do that. What do you think of Doc Rivers coaching the Sixers? We talked about that a lot on Dunked on Prime, which came out on Friday night after Game 2 of this series. You're more enthusiastic about it than I am, just because I think that Doc, I don't think that the offensive system will be particularly creative, but there are other benefits to it, most notably potentially motivating Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. And as Nate, I'll summarize this part as he brought up on the pod. It's like Joel Embiid becoming the best version of himself. Effort and approach and all that is the biggest way for the Sixers to improve. So if Doc can speak to him and he will listen, then that's incredibly important. Should the Lakers keep the championship team if they win? I think it's not. I don't think that the outcome should determine that. It's going to be more about what other offers those guys get and what other things are on the table for them. I think the real challenge, the really interesting question is going to be what happens if some of these players, the Lakers only have non-bird rights, end up saying the only way I'll come back is for some or all of the mid-level exception. And at that point, then it depends on who else is available for that price. So like if Dwight, as well as Dwight's played at moments in these playoffs in the regular season, if Dwight says it's MLE or nothing for me, I think they could do better.
Yeah, we're seeing the Butler montage as he has 15 points here early on and has done it with the drive. And they don't have a great player on this team to guard him. I mean, Davis and LeBron are really the two that I think can do it. But Danny Green hasn't looked good so far trying to guard Jimmy Butler. Kuzma, Markieff Morris, they haven't been able to get it done either. So, yeah, I mean, that's crazy. A 9-0 run in a minute 30 by the Heat. And LeBron is back in, along with Davis, Markieff Morris, and KCP and Rondo. They try that screening action out of the corner for AD. And yes, that's the way to play it. Kendrick Nunn, leave Rondo open in the corner, and they end up getting the miss eventually. It was a pretty decent look. But that's Denver never discovered that aspect of stopping that play to just not guard Rondo on that. Here's Crowder, three-pointer, misses. Rondo looking to push it. Heat are back. They get it to LeBron. Now Davis against Olynyk. Olynyk, he's drawn the charge. Wow, third foul on Anthony Davis. I wonder if Vogel will consider a challenge.
I think he should. Kelly Olynyk kept on moving to his left into Anthony Davis there. And for Frank Vogel, I mean, I think he can keep Anthony Davis in this game if he's going to pull.
That's a clear blocking foul, by the way. He's moving forward into him, and he's not in his path. That's terrible. But the Lakers benefited from some dubious foul calls against Bam in Game 1, and now it's hurt them with Davis. Here's Nunn. Mid-ranger by Kendrick Nunn goes down.
And to me, if Frank Vogel is going to be so scared of AD foul trouble that he's going to pull him, he should have used the challenge.
I mean, you just never get it on those block charge calls, though.
I guess that's true. It was so badly called, though.
Here's Markieff going to try Olynyk. Misses it. LeBron thought he got hit on the tip. Nunn going to attack J.R. Smith. Oh, he went down.
I hope he's okay.
He may not be.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's jogging back in. Does not look particularly spry. Here's LeBron on the post-up. Olynyk, no choice but to foul. Well, he had a choice. He could have just not fouled because LeBron went right through him.
And a potential, any limitation to Kendrick Nunn. I mean, Miami's already down a couple of their best ball handler initiators, and Nunn is, well, other than Jimmy Butler's excellent, has really been their second best penetrator, and he just slipped.
Yeah, he tried the Euro step. I'm not sure what may have been impacted there. And that's crazy, though. That's LeBron James, Danny, posting up against a center and just going right through him. I think that is the third three-point play already for LeBron in this game.
I think you're right.
J.R. Smith is in, and looks like Spo is going to get a timeout here with the Heat up by 4. How's this game feeling to you right now?
I think it's just a matter of time until the Lakers, as long as they keep the turnovers toned down from before. I mean, I think they've been better than the Heat other than that disastrous stretch. And since they already cut the margin, I think that Adam Thompson's double might end up happening where the Lakers win, but they win by less than 10. Guess that'd be fewer than 10. Anyway, do the Lakers need more guys that can efficiently set AD up? Yeah, that's a part of the idea that I've had of that their biggest need is somebody who could space the floor and run some pick and roll. I think that player you would be able to set AD up as well, and it could be through a flow of an offense. So I mean, they've done well in the AD non-LeBron minutes overall, but I think that you want to solidify that a little bit more in case Rondo isn't quite this good, or in case you want somebody who can be a little bit more sustainable there. So I think that's a big, to me, that would be the best thing they could do with their mid-level exception.
Glenn Simonson's asked a couple of questions about the coaching situation in New Orleans, as we're actually going to be back very quickly here, so maybe we'll save that for next time. With everyone back on the floor. Looks like Nunn is going to be able to continue, which is good. And yeah, I mean, Danny, they're playing Olynyk the exact same way. God, that's a horseshit call that they're showing right there. Butler guarded by James now. Olynyk sets the screen to get Morris onto him. Butler feeling the attack on Morris. Oh, and Morris just stopped reacting, and then Butler just throws it out of bounds. He thought he was going to get the foul on Morris. That was a very ugly possession for both sides, but end result is Lakers ball. Good no call there on that play underneath off the offensive rebound. Two screens here for LeBron James. Oh, he's going downhill against Olynyk, leaving it for Morris beautifully. And the Heat did not know what they were doing there on that double screening action. Yeah, Duncan Robinson had no idea who he was guarding at all. They kind of set up a little Spain pick and roll on the timeout. Here's Robinson. His three goes down. What a difficult shot. And when you say, hey, man, he's taking these bad shots, if he can get it off, it's a good shot. Just sometimes he doesn't get it off because he's so aggressive shooting it. Caruso into the lane, tries to finish over Butler, and he's going to get fouled as he goes flying into the stanchion.
And I believe that's going to be free throws for Caruso and the Lakers.
Yeah, I think it might have been Duncan Robinson who commits this foul on the dig down. Ooh, yeah, that could have easily been a 4-point play in favor of Duncan Robinson.
Yeah. Scott Foster it seemed like he was looking right there.
Caruso, a product of Texas A&M. Yeah, let's watch this here. Yeah, that's a pretty clear foul on LeBron James that didn't get called.
Yeah. Caruso, a college teammate of one Daniel House, something I looked up and realized while those teams were playing in the second round.
Yeah, he spent time on a two-way deal with the Lakers and then got a nice contract of about $3 million a year. Here's Butler off the gravity of Robinson. Man, he'd have had a bunch of these rim out, but Iguodala gets the rebound. Crowder, and he threw it right to the referee. He thought that was Duncan Robinson, and he was incorrect. Cool looking pass, though.
Yeah.
Two screens for LeBron. They're trying to get him downhill, and this is going to be a big problem for Miami right now. With no rim protector in the game, they're going with Iguodala at center. We haven't seen much of that, but if you're not willing to switch with this group, Danny, they're sunk because LeBron's going to get downhill. Here's Crowder blowing right to the rim as James did not react defensively with any help.
And this is a very limited rim protection combination of 10 guys, so we could see a lot of rim attacks in the next 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
Yeah, they're going after Duncan Robinson again here with Caruso this time. Swings it over. Smith, nice footwork, but he missed the shot. Butler looking to push it, guarded by James. Sets up Robinson. Robinson from way out. Way short, though. Now they've got Robinson on James. He's going to have to stay there. They need to just bring the double team here. Loops it over to Smith. Smith lost it momentarily. Here's KCP in the corner. Hits the side of the backboard. Butler looking to push it again. Going right at Smith. Right into the basket.
The funniest thing about the LeBron cut on the last possession is that J.R. Smith is never going to make that pass. Like, it's a really hard angle. Like, you wouldn't want him to try to make it and probably turn it over.
Really an outstanding half as Robinson making LeBron pick up his dribble. LeBron not looking to attack as much here these last couple of possessions with AD on the bench. Caruso going at none. Oh, they're going to give a foul in favor of Caruso, which I really... No way. No way is that a foul, unless he got him with his arms, which I really don't think he did from that first angle.
And that last Jimmy Butler drive is a great example of something you've articulated well, which is transition defense is all about getting the big man back because Jimmy Butler was not going to be deterred by anybody else there.
Yeah, great point. Certainly not J.R. Smith, and pretty difficult to understand. I guess the thought being that Danny Green hasn't played well, and so they want to get Smith out there and get some more shooting, but I'm not sure what J.R. Smith is doing here. But they've got 3 fouls on Kuzma, 3 fouls on AD. Maybe they just feel as though it's too short of a bench. And they don't want to go back to Howard, apparently, either.
Somebody noted that Caruso was a DPOY in college, and I am very dubious of Conference Defensive Player of the Year awards because they're often really poorly awarded. Like Tyler Ulis won one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always like some guard who gets a lot of hype. Hero, who has gotten a nice rest, is back in the game. And Butler, again, man, he is just abusing the Lakers. And I think Frank Vogel needs to get a big back in this game. Like they do,
I agree.
Their rim protection has been atrocious here.
And to
And
me, that big should be Anthony Davis.
because this now, Markieff Morris is out. This is LeBron at center, and he has not been active as a help defender like that in this game. LeBron going off way outside
Oh,
for a
that was
couple
just
of
filthy.
screens. That was impressive to hit another 3-pointer. Hill, I thought he had the baseline to drive it. Instead, he cashes out a three right in the face of J.R. Smith. And then they throw it off of Rondo's back. He wasn't even watching, and they cut away, but no one was there to intercept for Miami. Rondo engaging Butler, and now they want to get the ball to LeBron against Robinson. Help is going to
Two
have to
for
come
one.
here. Hero trying to come over. Double team comes now as soon as he puts it on the floor. That's Smith for three. Yes, 3 straight 3-pointers in this game by both teams, and now it's a 2-point advantage. Lakers do get the 2-for-1. Butler looking for Hero. Good job by Caruso getting over the screen. Hill, Hero on the drive, and he's reached in on by LeBron James. So 2 free throws forthcoming for Tyler Hero.
Tyler Hero's line so far 1 for 8 from the field. He's only taken 1 3, which he missed, but that three was wide open. That was the one when LeBron was late on I think that was the stanchion play. One free throw and 1 assist, 1 rebound, 1 turnover in 14 minutes of action.
Yeah, and where he's getting his shots from, you mentioned that he's missed 2 3-pointers as Derek Jones Jr. is going to get in here for Robinson with a pretty nice looking defensive group for Miami. And then he's hit 1 mid-ranger, that first one right at the beginning along the baseline. He's missed every other shot. Couple of misses at the rim and some. I mean, he hasn't really gotten an open look other than that 1 3-pointer when LeBron didn't get back because of the ankle. Hero does hit a couple of free throws, though, and this will be an interesting last play of the half. I assume they're going to try and go after Hero here and pick and roll. Yeah, Caruso waving everyone away so that he can go set the screen. They try to go under, pack the paint. Smith into the corner. What a ridiculous move. Misses that. LeBron keeping it alive. Rondo's tip is no good. And Miami, nice half here with AD in foul trouble. They basically didn't get to play LeBron and AD together at all. And Lakers will have some work to do here in the second half if they want to make this a 3-0 lead against the Miami Heat. And we'll be back towards the end of halftime. It's going to take a little break here. All right, welcome back from halftime here. 58-54, Miami leading the Lakers. And the first half, the Lakers started shooting a lot more threes. Towards the end, they finished 8 out of 21. Miami only 5 out of 15. Definitely seemed unlikely that we would have the Lakers shooting so many more threes than Miami. But generally, Danny, I think I've liked Miami's defensive strategy pretty well in this first half.
Yeah, I mean, LeBron and Anthony Davis, granted, some of that is AD being in foul trouble. They've only taken 2 attempted 3-pointers. And then Danny Green and Caldwell Pope, they have 4, which they've missed all of. And then Morris and Kuzma and JR, those have been the guys taking the lion's share. And you're okay with that.
Yeah, and they've limited them much more at the rim than in previous games, and a lot of the turnovers came when the Lakers tried to force the ball inside. That still, even with a much better performance in the second quarter, Lakers at 26% turnovers. And let's talk a little bit here about our friends at bookies.com before we start the second half.
Yeah, I mean, bookies.com, it is all about information, and it's true. And you and I talked about the live update page, and one of the great things is not only how that fits together, having that all in one place, different odds makers, and you can see it, is also that Bet Online has such great click-through deals. So you have those two things running together where you have the confidence that the option will be on the page and that you'll have a great click-through bonus as well.
Yeah, Bet Online. Well, what is Bet Online? No, that's not what we're talking
Bookies.
about. We're talking about bookies.com
Bookies.
here.
Yes.
That's all right. We don't have to send in an air check of this, thankfully.
Yeah,
But they do have great click-through deals such as PointsBet,
really do.
deposit $250 and get $250 in free bets. BetMGM, deposit $500 and get $500 in free bets. And
That's great.
Unibet, maybe that's who you were thinking of. Deposit $600, get a $600 risk-free bet plus $30 in free bets as well at bookies.com/NBA, and follow them on Twitter at bookies. Let's hit some questions before we get a chance to start.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on getting rid of the foul out? I don't like it. I think it's particularly at the lower levels, it's not good because you just need a deterrent to fouling, and I like that's the game doesn't work unless you have fouls, because otherwise people can just foul all the time. And if individual players knew, it's fine, I'm not going to actually get disqualified if I'm so important, they'll just take a tack or something for me if I commit another foul, then players are going to foul a lot more, particularly at the lower levels when players learning to play have to learn not to foul.
Yeah, I agree with that in theory. I think that they should definitely expand it once you get into the later overtimes because you've just played so much more basketball. I think that is a correction that could easily be
Big
made. Kevin
time,
Pelt
yeah.
has been banging that drum for a while. I fully support that. And I think you could maybe even do a middle ground where in the NBA where like you could maybe get to 8 where you could give up a tech to get a guy a 7th foul and maybe an 8th foul, but then after that you are disqualified. That might be a way to do it. But I see your point, and especially at the lower levels, I agree with that because you want players to learn how to especially defend without fouling. Chris Paul there in an NBPA shirt. And I think we're going to be live, but we'll get to the Pelicans coaching search at some point soon.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's get to it right now. I mean,
wow,
who is your guy? You want D'Antoni,
Mike
right?
D'Antoni.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that it's underrated how difficult the Pelicans offense is to figure out, especially if Zion, if defensively you need to play somebody else next to him that has some size. And I would love to see D'Antoni kind of figure out some of those offensive elements, see if they can make it work with Lonzo and their other pieces while they're still under rookie scale contracts other than Ingram. And now we're back. So
we are. And
what in the world was that?
what are you talking about?
Like the cut to the announcers so quick, so then cutting back.
Yeah.
Never.
Here's Myers Leonard, who is starting his Keith Bogans here in the second. Howard doing the same. And tough pass from Hero with 1.2 on the shot clock. Miami retains possession.
I don't think they called a kick there. I think they just called a deflection.
Yeah. Trying to get it in. Tried the bounce pass, and now AD is in transition. Left it for Howard. Now James into more capable hands, and everyone's going to get out of his way here so he can attack Myers Leonard on the left side. Robinson trying to come over with help. Tough step back from James. Not a good shot at all. He's got to do
I
better.
still want to see him drive in those circumstances a lot more than he does.
Yeah, drive and force help. He's a great passer, obviously. Lakers switching out. Here's Robinson with the three-pointer over Danny Green to open the scoring, and Danny Green has not played well tonight. And
no, he's had a couple times where he hasn't really trailed properly, and that's led to a wide open three-pointer.
yeah, this is really like a show up here by LeBron James. Why doesn't he just inbound the ball to Danny Green and get it right back instead of like making Danny Green run all the way back down there? Yes, I'm sure Danny Green was supposed to inbound the ball, or someone else besides LeBron was, but you don't have to do that to a guy.
Well, you have to teach young guys the ropes, Nate.
Butler looking for Robinson. Oh, he missed him open on the cut. Picked up his dribble just at the wrong time. Hero and Robinson working together. Robinson continuing to move without the ball. And Leonard is run into. Is that Davis or Howard?
That
Ooh.
looked like it was Davis to me.
It might be. Is that 4?
It was Davis.
Man.
That is number 4 on Anthony Davis.
An ill-fated reach. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Obvious fall. So Vogel, a look of distress. Now he's going to stay with Anthony Davis here. They get Leonard rolling right to the rim for the easy jam. Another miscommunication as Howard stepped out. Nobody stepped back. They ran him off of 2 screens. I think that should have been Caldwell Pope picking up Leonard going to the rim. And then no reaction on the weak side from Davis either. Caldwell Pope looking for Howard. Now loops it to Green. They need this three-pointer, but it rims out. Good box out by Leonard on Howard. Here's Crowder, wide open again. Man, the Lakers had no idea who they're guarding in transition. They dodge a bullet that time. 9-point Miami lead. Howard, pick and roll with LeBron coming here. Gets Butler on his back. Help comes from Crowder. AD with the pass fake. He misses. And Hero did well on the glass.
And yet again, look at how limited the Lakers' offense is with a big man on the floor. They just don't have enough spacing, and it's leading to some settles for jump shots.
Butler setting up Hero. And that time, LeBron James was just not guarding Jimmy Butler, thinking he wasn't going to shoot it. So Butler just went and did a handoff to Tyler Hero. James was not engaged at all. Terrible start to this quarter defensively by the Lakers. Just myriad miscommunications, giving up wide open shots.
When it's an 8-0 start, and I think the 0 is important there too. The Lakers haven't really gotten many good looks, and so they had to defend in transition a couple times. They've been terrible in transition defense so far in this quarter, and their defense in the half court hasn't been much better.
All right, so we don't have to do a bookies.com read right now because it looks like we may have a game here.
Yeah. So I talked about how Mike D'Antoni is my preferred pick for the Pels. Do you have one?
I think they actually kind of need someone who's going to have more of a defensive focus, who's really going to get Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson to lock in defensively. I think the coach who can get the most out of them on that end, that's where the lowest hanging fruit is for this team.
And I think that is something that will need to happen for their eventual success. You could think about this in the idea of like Mark Jackson to Steve Kerr, that like those guys investing in the defensive end, and you could argue that they would have done that with a different coach, but it happened under Mark Jackson, so we deserve some credit for that. Will the Warriors have the taxpayer or the full mid-level? They will have the taxpayer mid-level. They have a ridiculous amount of money on their books, so they will not. They cannot be hard capped, because if they were hard capped, they would basically be over it. Does the Rivers hire erase any hope of Chris Paul to Philly? I don't know the status of their relationship right now. I mean, I think it would erase the hope of getting Chris Paul and also signing Austin Rivers. That seems like it might be a potential point of friction. But No, I mean, I think both of those guys would be like, hey, if you want to, if you that's the right if that's the right approach to make the team the best they can be, that I think they would be professionals about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Chris Paul, you'd probably rather be there and feel like you're on a team that's contending than in OKC that is not going to be a contender, despite the fact that they had a nice season this year.
Is this? Oh, that's an interesting question. Wallace Rash. Is this lead partially a matter of the Heat successfully attacking LeBron James' lethargy on D? And yeah, I think so. I think there have been a couple of possessions where that has made a real difference. I don't think it's necessarily their battle plan, but I think they've, Jimmy Butler in particular, I think they've done a nice job of making that happen. Have you thought about adding more people to the mock-off season, have fewer teams per person? We have thought about it, but the big challenge is, well, there are a couple. One is then that's more people that you have to get the timing right for, and then the other part is you think about how many voices that is for some of the negotiations and everything else. So my personal stance, and it's Nate could do it, is that we could potentially do it, but it's kind of the idea of unintended consequences. It creates other challenges.
Well, I don't think that there's a problem with it that needs to be solved there, and also there's a limited number of people that I know who have the requisite salary cap knowledge and are willing to donate 6 hours of their time to me.
Well, plus the research time.
Yeah, yeah. All right, here we go. Trying to get KCP off a couple of screens here to the handoff mid-ranger. Oh, and they're going to wave this off. I think this is... I didn't see what happened. Is there a loose ball foul before this on Howard?
Yeah, they're calling a foul before it. That was interesting.
Yeah, it looks like Howard picks up. We'll see it here. Yeah,
He just pushed Tyler Hero all the way.
Yeah, I mean, that was a little bit of a flop job by Hero, to be sure. So now the Lakers trying to improve their communication. Robinson sprinting off the screen. Good job by KCP getting through that. Hero attacking LeBron. Nice kick out to Leonard. Leonard on the blow by on LeBron. He sets up Hero in the corner. Great offense, but Hero could not cash it out. Now LeBron looking to attack in transition. Misses the layup. AD stripped underneath. Now they can throw it ahead to Hero. He'll try to put it in with the left hand and does.
That was gorgeous.
Great pass there by Crowder as well. And Miami, a 14-point lead here. What do you think Lakers' win probability of this game is right now?
Well under 50%. I'd say it's maybe like 35-40.
Robinson. Hero is going to be wide open to push it to 17. Misses. Butler got it taken away by Davis, but Crowder has it. Crowder finding Hero. They'll reset 10 on the clock, though. They got to go move quickly. Crowder will fake the handoff, shoot the three. That's way short, though. That Hero three could have pushed it to 17. They throw it ahead to Dwight here and wrapped up by Myers Leonard before he can get a shot attempt up, so this should be a reset.
I don't think there's a way to pull the stat, but I would be fascinated in the difference between the Lakers' turnover rate when Anthony Davis has been on the floor and when he's been off the floor. And I don't think it's entirely Davis related, especially because of the correlated factor of him playing a lot with a big. But it seems like the turnovers just came right back as soon as the third quarter began.
What the hell are they looking at now? Like some sort of an altercation here? Okay. Walks away.
Why is that anything?
You want to talk more about the New Orleans coaching search?
No. Let's find something else, though.
Well, yeah.
Okay. So these are some ideas for that for that creator spot that I talked about for the Lakers. I want to see what you think of this. Hood's going to opt in because of the Achilles. Teague, Augustine, Alec Burks, or Tyler Johnson. Any of those that, like, let's say they're willing to take the MLE. Any of those that stand out as being a particularly good fit next to LeBron?
Let me see here. Teague, Augustine, Alec Burks, or Tyler Johnson. Hood, I mean, I guess that would just have to be a trade. Hood is going to opt into his player option for sure. Nah, I don't. I'd why they're gonna bring back Rondo. You would imagine. Why would I think the way Rondo has played in these playoffs, you can argue he's been a better fit than any of those guys, and he also, at least the way he's played in the playoffs, probably gives you more on defense than all those guys except Tyler Johnson.
Kevin Pelton had the stat a couple minutes ago. I don't know where this is now, that the Lakers starting five has been outscored 25-9 so far in Game 3.
Has Spo altered his strategy in Game 3? Yeah, no zone. And they really just have packed the paint even more, and they've just done a much better job of boxing out. I mean, the Lakers have had few offensive rebound attempts. So, I mean, a lot of it's been playing better, but the strategy has been better also. Now, this is still a man-to-man for the Heat. Trying to get LeBron off a screen. Butler gets through that. Now, snug pick and roll. Green and Davis. Three-pointer from Caldwell Pope in the corner that goes down. They desperately needed that one to push it back to 11. And that, to me, is an overreaction to Danny Green's penetration by the Heat. If he wants to shoot a floater from the dotted line, let him. Crowder, quick release over Davis. Ooh, just in and out.
Oh, so close.
Now LeBron, semi-transition. Howard did not set the screen. He tries to post up instead. LeBron not looking that way. Crowder switching on to Danny Green. Danny Green does go to the floater, misses it. There's the offensive rebound. Davis now going to try Crowder. Good help came from Robinson, and the floater from Davis still goes in as the float and crash was not given in favor of Robinson.
Yeah, and if that was going to be anything to me, it would have been blocking foul. Duncan Robinson went for it late.
Butler trying to attack LeBron along the baseline, kicks it out, intercepted. He had the angle for the layup, didn't take it, and now a foul on KCP, clearly committed by Robinson despite the innocent arms up body language. And Butler, he's had a couple of times where he just doesn't trust his finishing. He had the angle, I thought, on LeBron James. And yeah, I mean, if anything, to me, that should have been a foul on Duncan Robinson.
I agree.
But
I think it should have been.
Yeah, I mean, see, like Butler has LeBron beat here, and Howard did a nice job of not overcommitting as well, playing Butler for the pass on those drives. How much the Lakers' woes are due to having a second big on the floor here who's taking up space inside?
A significant amount, but not entirely. I mean, they've also been a little bit sloppy with the ball, and their transition D has been bad. So, but it's a factor. I think it's part of why their offense is stagnating.
6-0 Lakers run as the Heat three-point shooting. They've had good looks, has gone cold. Hero has had a couple in particular, as has Crowder. James, as Butler gets through the screen off the Howard pick. Davis has been very uninvolved here early on. Danny Green not open off the pick and pop. LeBron closed down. Here's Green on the drive. Has to go for a tough floater again. Howard rebounding, and Dwight Howard has bailed out the Lakers on a couple of these terrible Danny Green floaters with his activity on the offensive glass.
Actually, they called that a shooting foul on Tyler Hero, looks like.
My apologies.
I didn't
Thank
see
you.
much there. That's the advantage of us being behind the actual live action, is I checked the box score to be like, oh, what was that foul? And I saw the shooting foul notation.
Yeah, terrible foul committed by Hero in that case. I mean, this is Danny Green. He drove. They got an offensive rebound. I don't know why they're showing this here, but he drove and got an offensive rebound. Then he sets up KCP for a three when they overreacted, and then they follow him on another one of these plays. Now he's trying to pressure up against Hero a little bit. Good pressure, milking the shot clock. But LeBron forcing Butler away from the screen. Now LeBron's switching on to Hero. They want Butler against Green, but this is late clock. Let's see if the help comes here. It doesn't, and Butler's going to get fouled. That time, that late in the clock, I think they should bring some help. I know overall their philosophy is to stay with the shooters.
Yeah, Davis kind of went over, but he didn't do anything that really impacted where Jimmy Butler, like he kind of floated behind Jimmy Butler there and didn't affect the shot at all.
Yeah, so the Heat had given up a nice run here. It had been 8-0 since it was 68-54, and that stanches the bleeding for the moment at the foul line.
And I believe that free throw gave Jimmy Butler 20 points for the game. He also has 8 rebounds and 8 assists in 28 minutes of action. We'll see how much he sits in the third, considering what happened when he sat in the first half.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, and he's also guarding LeBron on every possession as well. I mean, this is an incredible effort so far by him, and the way he's doing it is with attacks off the dribble. Here's LeBron looking to attack Butler into the lane, goes right through him for the bucket as Olynyk just came in, and it'd be interesting to see how this changes things offensively for the Heat. But I thought Leonard was playing well. I don't know why they didn't just stick with him. I guess he'd gotten a couple of fouls on Howard. Olynyk setting the screen. Butler switched onto by Howard off the glass beautifully by Jimmy Butler as Howard was not aggressive enough, and he's looking at LeBron. Hey, what are we doing here? Lakers offense has started to wake up, though. They've been trying to go after Duncan Robinson. Pass from LeBron was off that time, and then KCP just lost it out of bounds.
Well, and a nice job there by the Heat not giving the low resistance switch.
Yeah, and I mean, if you want to throw the ball to Contavious Caldwell-Pope or Danny Green as the roll man, be my guest, is my thought if you're the Miami Heat. And it remains Laker ball. LeBron on the bench. Rondo with the high arcer. Wow, that almost hit the shot clock. What a finish. Now Butler going right at Kuzma and just goes right through him.
Well, and zero help there. I mean, so Anthony Davis is guarding Jay Crowder. Dwight Howard's on Kelly Olynyk. Neither of them moves a muscle to try to get over there to stop Jimmy Butler.
Nice spin move from Howard. That was a vintage play by him, and Rondo is always looking for that spin off. Yeah, is that out of bounds? That actually is the top of the backboard, right? No, that's in bounds.
Yeah, I think if it goes over the top, it's out of bounds, but
Yeah.
I think that was in bounds. But that is not a rule I am super strong on, admittedly. And here we go, Anthony Davis at center, which I thought was, they just needed a little bit more mobility out there.
Rondo setting up Davis on the pick and pop mid-ranger. And man, Anthony Davis, his shooting in these playoffs has been ridiculous. Now they don't know who they have. That's going to set up a three from Olynyk. Bucket. And Rajon Rondo did not know that he was guarding Kendrick Nunn, and Davis had to help, and that left Olynyk wide open for a three. Back to a 9-point game. That was a big shot, and you're going to get Crowder holding Anthony Davis as he tried to move into position for the screen.
And I believe that's free throws. It depends on whether any Miami calls were offensive fouls.
Yeah, it is going to be free throws with the Lakers in the bonus. Not a good foul there by Crowder. But sometimes you have to commit those just to make things a little bit more difficult. Yeah, and obviously if Davis can get going here, that's massive for the Lakers. He's really struggled in this one, having played little due to the foul trouble in the first half, and he has, in fact, 4 fouls right now.
Well, I think that's true on the offensive and the defensive ends. I mean, he was very impactful in game one, deterring shots. Goran Dragic, you could see it in that first half, and lots of other guys. And then it hasn't really been there after that. They've changed a little bit about the change of their offense, and also AD, I think he's just been a little less assertive.
Butler now guarded by Markieff Morris, a matchup he's had success in. Good pass fake, Crowder on the drive. Butler swings Olynyk. Beautiful offense, but they can't cash it out. Rondo tosses it ahead to himself. Now he's looking for Caldwell-Pope. Run off the line. That sets up Kuzma. Caldwell-Pope with a nice pass, but could not get the shot. A couple of missed open corner threes. Now Butler, they don't know who has him either, and it's going to be another foul. How do they not pick up this guy? What it was is Markieff Morris was trying to go get Jay Crowder. He's yelling at Caldwell-Pope to pick up Butler, and Caldwell-Pope didn't hear him until too late. You see Caldwell-Pope turns around, and Jimmy Butler is already ready to attack the basket at that point. Lakers defensive communication, they've had probably, I would say 6 breakdowns already.
Well, and not only that, but remember how many missed shots in transition Miami had in this game so far. Like there were a couple of just wide open threes that they missed that would make this an even larger margin. Yeah, the
Iguodala.
Lakers' transition defense has been terrible.
Yeah, Iguodala returning. Caruso is in. Maybe he can help out with some of the defensive intensity issues that the Lakers have had. Butler only 1 out of 2 at the line, and it's an 8-point Miami lead. Butler now guarding Rondo defensively. Trying to post up Davis here against Iguodala. Gets it at the foul line. Olynyk coming over to help out. Late clock. This took forever. Now Rondo has to try Iguodala. Going into Olynyk. Had nothing there, and a shot clock violation ensues. Yeah, the Lakers just, it took them probably 10 seconds to even figure out what play they were running that time, and that's why they ran out of time. Now Miami looking to push it to double digits. Here's Nunn off the Iguodala screen. Gets the switch of Kuzma onto him. Nunn on the drive. Has to loop it up. Oh, what a pass from Iguodala. And Olynyk drops it in off the front rim. 11-point game. The incredible pass by Andre Iguodala. Now it's Caruso trying to get fouled, and he does. And that was poor by Kendrick Nunn to give up the foul in that situation. And again, the refereeing has been a little inconsistent here because guys are showing their hands and still getting called for fouls on these.
Yeah, Iguodala there was kind of falling backwards and threw it to Olynyk directly to his right in the same motion, and that's what allowed Olynyk to be open to bank to rim in that three.
Yeah, well, the other thing that's open right now is potentially, if it's legal in your state, betting. And bookies.com, the best place to get information for that. Their live updating odds are fantastic, so you don't have to worry about refreshing. You're getting the best possible information right away. And they also have really good expert picks from the likes of Adam Thompson and Mark Stratman as well.
Yeah, and Thompson's pick of the Heat over the Lakers is looking very good right now. Remember, the Lakers were 9.5-point favorites overall in this game. And also, Mark Stratman picked the over in this game, and I'll try to take a very basic look. It seems like we might be a little on the low side, but we could see it pick up pretty quickly here. But yeah, having expert picks that are explained, and like that was very interesting for me with Adam Thompson picking the Lakers on the money line and the Heat on the spread. It was good for me to kind of understand what the logic was there, and so he did right up spread.
Why is the NBA seemingly resistant to another bubble when it went so well? 2 reasons. 1, money. And 2, it sucks to have to be there for that long. And yeah, I think there definitely are concerns we're seeing with the NFL right now that some players are testing positive. They have to have a game postponed, etc. Now, it's a little easier for the NBA because you don't have as large of an organization, so there aren't as many fail points as there are, but still, there's a concern about people's activities and people that they might bring into their homes and then what their family is doing. I mean, there are definitely some fail points, even if you are doing daily testing. But, you're basically, instead of bubbling, you're just, in theory, bubbling at home and you're bubbling at the facility. Also, a lot more travel involved for the NBA as well. But I think it really just boils down to it's less money, it costs money to do it, and they also don't want to because it sucks.
Yeah. Why are the Lakers having so much trouble getting the ball to AD in his spots? There are a couple different things. I think one is that the angles are. I think Miami has done a better job bringing help over. The angles are challenging, and because a lot of AD's minutes have occurred with another big man on the floor, there just isn't enough. The windows are smaller, and also I think they're attacking AD on the catch a little bit more aggressively, which has helped too. Should Waiters play over J.R. Smith? I don't think Waiters is physically able to play right now. I think he's still dealing with an issue. I could be wrong on that, but I don't think he is. A note from Walls Rash: what I'll miss most from 2020 has been the Lakers' vaudevillian protestations at every foul. It has been pretty enjoyable. I mean, there are a lot of teams that do, but the Lakers have a lot of very expressive foul people, LeBron notably among them, and that has been pretty amazing.
All right, we're going to be back here now, and Miami up by 11, 81 to 70 after that nice pass from Iguodala. And interested to see whether LeBron is going to be back here now. Meanwhile, Jimmy Butler authoring a brilliant game at the moment. 26 points in 31 minutes, 10 of 14 from the field, 6 of 8 from the foul line, 8 assists, 9 rebounds, 2 steals, and a block. Caruso misses the second free throw, but Markieff Morris beat Iguodala to the basketball. Now they have Kuzma in the corner. He's got Robinson flipping it back. Rondo is open. 5 on the clock. Tries Olynyk. High arcer. That misses. Good rebound by Hero. Miami looking to build on this 10-point advantage. Iguodala guarded by Rondo. They want to get Butler here against Markieff Morris. Robinson. 2 guys come over to him. That was a good job by Rondo on the baseline. Now Butler in the post. He's going to have to create here. Tough fader over Morris. Oh, bucket by Jimmy Butler. What a shot. And it's a 12-point lead for the Miami Heat. Rondo gets Iguodala switched onto him. Trying to get Davis in the post. That's not there. Morris now looking for Davis again against Iguodala. Let's see if the help comes. It does from Olynyk. Tough fadeaway by Davis. Man, what a shot that is. That's one, though, that the Miami Heat will surely live with.
And Anthony Davis has only taken 3 shots in the paint in this entire game, all in the restricted area. I think 2 of them in transition.
They tried the back door, but Davis all over it off of the shooting of Olynyk. Here's Caruso. And Davis with the big dunk over the back of Iguodala. No box out attempt was made by Andre Iguodala. Now Iguodala looking to get it into Olynyk in the post. Nice pass, but Olynyk is claiming he was held by Rondo, and it'll remain Miami ball.
And AD has played this in basically this entire third quarter with 4 fouls.
Robinson. Now it's Butler again. Late clock. Butler against Kuzma. Sets up Robinson as Morris lost him, but Robinson way off on the 3. Lakers looking to cut into this 8-point lead. Kuzma not looking to attack Robinson. Instead, it's Morris over Olynyk in the corner, and that's not even close. Looking a little ragged here, and they just completely lose Duncan Robinson again. I mean, this is atrocious transition defense from the Lakers. Davis fakes the shot and gets it to Kuzma instead for a 3. And that's a huge exchange there with Duncan Robinson has missed 2 pretty open 3s. Kuzma just hit one, and it's back down to 5 now. Lakers on a 7-0 run.
AD passing out of that. He saw Kuzma open. Kuzma just got a good look.
Here's Morris. Oh, a rejection by Rondo on Butler, and hopefully Butler is okay. Morris got blown by Jimmy Butler. See if we can catch what happened on this. I thought Morris actually committed a foul out on the floor that wasn't called.
I agree. Hope
yeah, I think he must have just got hit in the face on that Rondo block attempt. Rondo definitely got up for that block, though. See if we can catch it here. Yeah, that's a clear foul by Markieff Morris. Yeah, and Rondo, I think it's a body foul by Rondo. Yeah, he's jumping forward here. And I didn't see where he hit him in the head, I guess. Yeah, he
and
got
Butler
him with the elbow.
Butler fell on his elbow, his left elbow.
Yeah. Alpha on alpha crime that time, Danny.
Yes. Oh, what a year that was.
And yet they still led 2-0 in the first round in the East. Olynyk is going to go out. LeBron is back in here. I imagine this is going to be a defensive replacement along the lines of Jones, and yeah, there is Jones back in for the end of this quarter. And LeBron again, he got quite a rest here. He's only played 27 minutes. You imagine he'll play the entire fourth if it remains close. And Butler a couple of free throws to push it back to 7. Big possession here, end of the quarter. Butler remains the matchup on LeBron. Presumably they're going to go after Duncan Robinson. Why the hell is Duncan Robinson still in the game right now, Danny?
Yeah, I mean, you could sub him out.
And LeBron gets the attack, gets blocked from behind, and still scores. So they attack Duncan Robinson. There is no reason not to take Duncan Robinson out of the game there. They put in Derek Jones. Why not put in Solomon Hill or Jay Crowder as well? They didn't. And they go after Duncan Robinson and give up a bucket. So that's one to put a pin in if this game ends up being close down the end.
And it is 85 to 80 at what appears to be the end of the third. That looks like they're going to do a review, but I don't think we're going to see anything. I think it's more just like whether the ball went out of bounds with some time left. I don't think there's going to be anything too dramatic here. Let's see, one. Yeah. 113 offensive rating for the Miami Heat, 62% true shooting. And the Lakers turnovers, was crazy in that first half. They're all the way down to a 21% turnover rate when it was over 50% in the first quarter. And we could get to some of your questions. It seems like the Lakers have been more effective than the Celtics containing Duncan Robinson. Do you agree? I agree in part and disagree in part. I think that the Lakers' half-court philosophy has done a pretty good job on Robinson. I think that they've generally done that, but they've lost him more in transition than the Celtics did, especially in this game, but that was a little bit true in 1 and 2 as well.
So the three-point shooting for Miami has betrayed them. Robinson, 2 of 8. He's had some pretty good looks in this game. They're 9 of 28 overall, and from the corners, they're 1 out of 9. They've had some very good looks from the corners. So if they end up losing this game, that's one of the things that they can point to. I think they have substantially outplayed the Lakers in this one, and they just haven't been able to hit shots.
Yeah, I agree. Question from B. Hills. I'm going to take it a different way. He said, should Jimmy Butler get Finals MVP regardless? And what I'm going to say is, I think they should seriously consider it. I mean, I think the idea that the Finals MVP has to be on the winning team is a very kind of overstated thing. And especially given how limited this Miami Heat team has been in games 2 and 3, I think Butler has been more valuable to the Heat, but the idea is basically that his value still didn't push them over the top. So I agree with it. I thought LeBron should be I thought LeBron would have been a more deserving Finals MVP in 15 than Iguodala, although I had Curry over both of them. So yeah, I'm broadly on board with that being considered more often, but no, I think he's probably still go with LeBron, knowing what we know right now.
So Butler, I mean, he only sat for 2 minutes in the first half. Are they going to just stick with him this whole way now?
I think they are, which is bonkers.
Yeah, and I don't think Jimmy Butler should be the MVP. I mean, maybe if it goes to 7 and Bam and Dragic don't play anymore and Butler keeps playing like this, then maybe. I mean, he's definitely been the best player on the floor tonight by a significant margin.
Let's see.
How do the Warriors view this series in terms of their team and size going forward? I mean, I don't think that Marquise Chris and Kevon Looney are going to get it done for them at center, that's for sure. But I think they knew that already.
Yeah, and I think that their offensive philosophy is so fundamentally different that I think they can walk away from this, especially given how bad the Lakers have been at moments in transition defense. The Warriors can be like, hey, we can make some real hay there. How does this series change your opinion on Jimmy Butler as a top 10 player? I mean, he's been absolutely excellent going against a potent defense, and it's been, and doing so with a heavy minute total and taking on a big defensive assignment has been incredibly impressive. I mean, I will have to think about it, and there are going to be some serious contenders, but he's definitely helped his case.
Yeah, I didn't believe that he could be as effective as he has been as a one-on-one player in these playoffs. And I've liked that he's been able to increase his usage, particularly in these last two games. He has been really good. I mean, it's worth noting that he's not getting double teamed at all, right? Their strategy is to let him get his and prevent the three-point shooting. LeBron is back in. Rondo in the corner, run off the line by Kendrick Nunn. Still plenty of time here for LeBron. He's got Olynyk on him now. Crowder faking the double team. LeBron looking to attack. There does come the double team. Force him to pick it up. Three-pointer by Morris is way off again. Man, feast or famine for Markieff Morris from three.
Yeah, he's had at least two that didn't even hit rim.
I've really liked Miami's approach much more on these LeBron isolations than in previous games. Hero has Markieff Morris, goes along the baseline, tries the up and under, and he got him with it, but he blew the layup, and Morris recovers. Great move, terrible finish. Now LeBron against Crowder at range, trying to involve Hero. LeBron with the hard attack, what a move, and that's his fourth three-point play attempt of this game.
And LeBron basically did a cutting split of that double of that. That was incredible. It turned into kind of a straight line drive, but that was splitting the coverage. And then that left, and he did it so quickly, no one was able to recover. It was Kendrick Nunn kind of on the bottom there, so Jay Crowder commits the reach. That doesn't do anything to deter LeBron James. And think about that swing. Remember, Tyler Hero missed that layup after getting Markieff Morris in the air. That could have pushed it to 7, and now a LeBron make push it to 2.
And James does hit that and Butler right back in. He got less than a minute worth of rest. One possession plus the free throws. Man, Markieff Morris is playing a lot in this game, Danny.
He is.
Olynyk on the QB keeper, going right at Morris. That was a Doncic-esque finish from Kelly Olynyk. Olynyk switching out onto James, double team behind the back. Now they're in rotation. Caruso's corner three misses. Again, I love that approach. Do not let LeBron James beat you in those situations. Olynyk trying to put Morris in the mix and thought better of it wisely. Butler behind James, went Crowder for the easy back door.
And LeBron ball watching. That LeBron just saw Jimmy Butler, didn't pay any attention. Beautiful job by his former teammate Jay Crowder, just using that to cut.
4 straight points by Miami. This time Caruso sets the screen and they didn't take advantage of the initial switch. LeBron on the attack. Olynyk coming off the strong side corner. Morris, three-pointer is good.
Trick or treat.
Back to a 3-point game here. Olynyk very aggressive off the strong side corner, but that's a pretty easy pass that was set up. Now Hero gets a screen, and they're going to get an illegal screen here, I think, on Kendrick Nunn. Yeah, good call. He got the elbow up.
Nunn moved to his right, yeah. And that's a huge swing as well.
Yeah, because he made that shot. You're right. Davis, who got plenty of rest in the first, is back for the Lakers. Yeah, the right elbow of Nunn, I thought, is really what earned him that call. LeBron going at Duncan Robinson again. They'll just try it once more. Tries to split it. Morris is open over Olynyk again, and he hits again to tie it at 89. Lakers have come all the way back. They once trailed 68-54. Butler looking for Olynyk underneath, but didn't get the pass to him. They lob it up to Butler. He wasn't ready. Crowder, quick release. They need it. They don't get it. And now he's behind the play. LeBron looking a little tired here, though. He's not running with his teammates, but it doesn't matter. Caruso is wide open. Rondo on the offensive glass. James will reset it. Rondo going to try Duncan Robinson. Goes past him. Easy layup.
And another one with a lot of English on it. It kind of spun back into the basket. That was another nice finish by Rondo.
Yeah, 8-0 Laker run pushes them into a 2-point advantage. And Miami, the momentum against them now to avoid a 3-0 deficit.
Well, and I know a couple people were surprised when I said when Miami was up, I think that was 14, and I said the Lakers had a 35 to 40% chance of winning. And a big part of it was the lineup that had got the Lakers lineup that had caused them the most problems wasn't going to play anymore the rest of that game. And
Yeah.
so it was going more to where they had the advantage. Miami's bench has largely been negative in the series. The Lakers have been good in some of those small lineups, and I think that's largely held to form.
Yeah, so now you imagine its advantage. Lakers, you think as well that AD and LeBron are both going to play the rest of the way here. And with Butler having played or rested so little, how's he going to keep it going as the primary impetus for the Heat offensively?
Yeah, and will the Lakers maybe change their approach a little bit, make some passes, or maybe they'll just keep it going. Chris Carter theorizing that LeBron's going to try to orchestrate co MVPs. Um, maybe. I don't think. I think LeBron would rather have it by himself than have it with somebody else. That's my guess. Oh, that's an interesting one from M. Hewitt. What changes would you like to see in the replay rules? For me, I think the biggest one is a time limit. I think that it should be that if you can't change the call in 30 seconds, it stays. Other than, and that would be true for challenges. The only exception to that would be, like you could think like a fight or something like that that is a more complicated review, and that wouldn't be like an overturned call. That would be a completely different circumstance. That's my general thing on it. Challenges, I I think that there's a reason that the challenges exist. Maybe you do a greater perk if you get it right. Maybe you get one more, but then no more beyond that. Something like that could potentially be a change. But for me, the biggest thing is the time limit.
Well, and clear path should be eliminated, and we should never have to sit through a clear path review ever again.
Yes. Yeah, Ethan Sherwood Strauss is the person who first articulated that to me, and his idea was that clear path should be an intent call. And so basically, it's are you trying to stop a fast break rather than the positioning of the players on the floor? I completely agree with that. Other leagues have gotten it right. The NBA should follow suit.
Did the Lakers get non-bird on Markieff Morris? Yeah, they do, but I mean, it's basically for the minimum. They signed him, and that is a pretty good signing, honestly. I mean, I didn't think Morris was going to shoot this well, but he's been a part of some pretty good lineups for them. He hasn't been asked to do that much except not screw up and make corner three-pointers, but they didn't really have anyone who could do that, apparently, other than Jared Dudley. But
Is this the worst basketball the Lakers have played all playoffs? I mean, the turnovers in the first quarter probably were. I'm trying to think. So the two other contenders to me would be Game 1 of the Blazers series and Game 1 of the Rockets series. I don't remember off the top of my head those games well enough,
yeah,
like why they lost. I think Game 1 of the Blazers series was a pretty bad performance, but I
yeah.
don't
Well, in
remember
terms
for
of
sure.
execution, like their defense actually wasn't that bad.
Oh, so is it possible that Markieff Morris takes numbers? I think it's possible. It depends on what he's prioritizing. And the Lakers could basically say, if you want to come back here, we can't give you the MLE. And so in that case, maybe and we're back.
So they're trying to get Robinson in pick and roll here for Butler going downhill, and he's fouled, obviously, there by Rondo on the reach in.
And I think that's the first foul of the fourth quarter for the Lakers.
Split cut action out of bounds, trying to get Butler as they go under on him. He's not looking to take that three. Olynyk screens for Robinson while Butler tries the attack. Whoa, what a floater by Jimmy Butler. And he's got a few things to say to LeBron James after that, too. But a nice job by Butler knowing that they were going into the screening action and there wouldn't be help available. Now LeBron trying Duncan Robinson in the lane, stripped, and a travel is called beforehand.
Let's get it. I want to see a look at what happened here.
Yeah, Duncan Robinson seems like oh yeah, I mean that's a clear foul by Duncan Robinson that should have been called. Duncan Robinson defends with his back turned more than like any player in the NBA. Here's Olynyk, big three-pointer on the pick and pop. They went back to the exact same set that they ran out of the timeout. The Spoelstra really liked the look of that. Rondo going to his right, almost lost it, did lose it. Hero trying to push it up. He's gonna have to tighten up his handle a little bit. He's been stopped too easily by pressure. Now he's gonna step back on Morris. Big three. That misses. 0 pass possession for Miami. Caruso. They get penetration, but James very late to come down. He's looking fatigued, I would say, Danny. He has had a number of possessions where he just hasn't even crossed half court. And he hasn't played that many minutes tonight either.
No.
But he has had to guard Jimmy Butler. Now they pre-switch. This is the same set they ran again, and Caruso commits the kick ball violation. Third time they ran that set. That time James, you could tell, was ready to just kind of zone it up and take Olynyk as he came out of it. But the point of this set is to get Jimmy Butler downhill against 2 screens. Kuzma is back. Morris leaving. Yeah, LeBron just huffing and puffing a little bit here. Butler at range. He's guarded by AD. Going to try and take him here with 5 on the clock. No, he sets up Hero nicely for the 3. Beautiful pass as Caruso was at the elbow trying to prevent penetration, and Butler just threw it right to Hero. Good recognition, and in Miami, great response. They're now up by 6. Butler calls Robinson to go away from James. They swing it around to Kuzma. Big 3 again. Kyle Kuzma has had the touch from the corners. Those corner threes for the Lakers are going down, and Miami just going to have to live with that to a certain extent. Similar set on this side of the floor. What a pass by Butler to the rolling Olynyk. They went for the double screen again.
And Kyle Kuzma, just go back, 4 of 7 from 3 in this game.
LeBron bringing KCP back into it again. He wants Duncan Robinson. Robinson not switching. LeBron back to goal. Underneath. Traveled again. LeBron James can't believe it, but it did look to me like a walk as Butler kind of pulls the chair on him here.
Yeah, he jumped. He landed on the same foot twice.
The left foot there was his pivot foot, and he lifted it up. Double screen action again. Butler on the drive has to kick out. Nice closeout by Kuzma and Crowder. Olynyk against Davis, looking for the handoff. They still have time here. And you see here when Butler's initial attack doesn't get them a shot, they just basically have to give it back to him. They don't have anyone else who can create anything other than him right now. 6 on the clock. Butler going to attack Davis. Has to pull up here. Tries to get him in the air. Gives it to Olynyk. Olynyk with the floater. What a weird possession that was.
That would have been amazing.
Now James pitch up by Crowder. KCP trying to draw the foul, and he does against Duncan Robinson, who, again, I mean, he really just does not have the athleticism defensively. He's got the size, but really anyone who attacks him, he's going to end up committing a foul, it seems like.
And they are calling that a shooting foul. I believe that is 3 on Miami so far, so the Lakers not in the bonus yet. Lakers have only committed 1 foul in the first 6 and change of the fourth quarter. And KCP, another missed Lakers free throw. They're 20 of 27 in this game, and wasn't it very similar to that? Wasn't it almost that identical thing in game 2?
10 out of 17.
Oh, okay. Same amount of misses, different rate.
Back to 4 now with the 1 out of 2. See if they go to similar action. Again, Butler directing traffic. He wants it against LeBron at the elbow. Olynyk switched onto by LeBron. Here's the drive by Hero going into Caruso. Nice finish there. And Olynyk, he loves that quick sprint to fake setting the screen to open things up for his guards late in the clock. Here's Davis. Oh, that's, the batting practice jump shot, but missed it. Caruso setting up a James 3. Another offensive board. Another miss. Wow, the Heat dodged some bullets on that one. Heat starting to look a little bit tired here, Danny, with the effort on the rebounding. Here's Robinson. KCP is right there. Robinson going to try the drive. Knocks him out of the way. Blows the layup. Now it's James looking for AD. Instead, Robinson did a great job getting back, but it'll remain Lakers ball.
No, Caruso. I think they're saying Caruso hit it
Oh,
out.
yeah, they're walking the other way. You're right.
So it's a 6-point lead for Miami, 4:40 to go. Really great run from them after the Lakers took the lead. It kind of felt like this was going in a specific direction, and they got a couple big shots, got a couple big stops, and they've really held form here.
Yeah, everyone is looking exhausted out there right now as they're walking to the benches, so a timeout it will hopefully remedy that to some degree.
Is now a good time to take out Duncan Robinson for Iguodala, protect what's left of the lead? It would make Miami a lot easier to defend, but yeah, I think it's probably about the right time for that, especially because Robinson doesn't do a lot with the ball in his hands, and they're relying so much on Jimmy Butler anyway. Oh yeah, Lakers crunch time offense showing up. I think they've been pretty stagnant overall. I mean, some of the best stuff they've gotten has been off of like offensive rebounds and broken plays.
Yeah, well, the
So
offensive rebounding in particular is going to be something to watch here, though.
yeah, I mean they can have bad first shot offense and still win this game just by getting enough of them. And it's 11 offensive rebounds so far for the Lakers per RT Hoops. That is a 21.6 offensive rebound rate. Oh, 26.8 offensive rebound rate. I had to update my stats.
Yeah, I mean, let's note it here that Jimmy Butler is in the midst of one of the better finals games that we've seen. 32 points, 12 of 16, 12 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 5 turnovers, and plus 15 in a game that they lead by 6. And he's played all
And
but
he's
3
basically
minutes.
played the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on pace for 45 minutes again. And you remember earlier in the playoffs when they had their full squad, Butler was playing like 34 minutes, 36 minutes, no longer for the Miami Heat.
And I think I want to start the pod tonight talking about Jimmy Butler, no matter what the result is here, because he's been absolutely incredible, and because so much of what Miami's done in the half court has been built off of him, whether he got credit for the basket or the assist or not. He's been the one forcing the adjustments and then or trying to, and he's done a lot of great finishing too.
So here's your big difference here that's enabled the Lakers to stay in it. The Lakers have taken 21 corner threes and made 9 of them, while Miami has taken 11 corner threes and made 2. And again, for reference, 20 corner threes is an insane amount to take in a game. I mean, that's just about as high as you're ever going to see in a game. We still have time left here in this one. Who are you going to close this game with if you're the LA Lakers?
I would go Davis at center, Rondo, KCP, obviously LeBron, and then I'm trying to think about the last spot. It's so you have a lot of options
Morris
there.
or Kuzma, probably.
Morris or Kuzma, probably not.
Or
Green has been terrible
Caruso.
in this game.
Caruso would be the other one too.
Yeah, I think I would go with Morris, judging how they played right now, and because Kuzma is a little bit more combustible defensively, but either of those is fine. What about you?
Oh man. Yeah, maybe it would be Markieff Morris. And he's about as reliable of a shooter as they had. Gives them a little more size defensively.
And I said that I would pull Duncan Robinson for Iguodala. Would you do the same?
Yeah, I mean, he's still important to the spacing that they have. And Robinson is going to stay out there. Foul situation, Crowder and Robinson both with 4. Davis with 4. Here's Butler in the pick and roll against Kuzma. This is an advantage matchup that he likes. Kuzma trying to force him left. Butler steps back. Oh, it just ribs out. That could have made it an 8-point lead. Now James gets the early transition. They've got Olynyk guarding Rondo right now. That's interesting. The Lakers have gone quite small, trying to involve Duncan Robinson in this. Here's a pick and pop by Kuzma, fading away. Not a good shot. And Butler, that's a ton of energy for him coming in from the top of the key to snag that rebound. Now Butler going at KCP off the switch. Back to goal. Let's see where the help comes from the Lakers, if anywhere. The answer is nowhere, and Jimmy Butler gives them an 8-point lead. James trying to attack quickly. Kuzma on the reverse, and he's fouled by the body of Olynyk. And I think in some ways, I mean, it's not good to be down 8, but the Lakers facing this deficit is probably actually good for their crunch time offense because they're going to attack quickly and go quickly here as they did that time.
They have to.
And if you just look at the number of attempts for the Lakers, Davis has 9 field goal attempts and James has 13. The Miami Heat strategy of just making someone else beat them is largely working in this game, even with the 20 corner 3 attempts given up.
Yeah, and the Lakers overall, they have even despite all those corner threes, they have a totally modest 105.4 offensive rating. So it's not like it hasn't borne a ton of fruit, even though the threes have been falling.
Yeah, and with Olynyk, Robinson, and Hero all out there, it is very difficult to send help against Butler, and they're going to get James off of him again. They want to go at Kuzma. Crowder on the pick and pop. Pass came a little late, but they've got Kuzma on Jimmy Butler. That's the matchup that they want. Butler just can meander into the lane at will here. Gets it back. Pump fake. Oh, he blows by to the baseline into James, and James commits the foul. James saying that there was a shove off from Butler. And if that is indeed the case, it could be a good challenge opportunity for Frank Vogel. He's got his use it or lose it timeout remaining, so that there isn't a timeout. But no, that's I think is a foul on James.
No, that's within it. And LeBron's foul also happened first.
Yeah. So Vogel will
Butler
retain his challenge. You probably want to just take the use it or lose it timeout in between these Butler free throws.
Yeah, because you don't want to short circuit your own offensive possession.
Yeah, and you might get a miss on the second one here. But they do not do that. And Jimmy Butler.
And I would say the Lakers look more tired than the Heat, so it's not that circumstance where you don't call it because you have an advantage.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that the Heat were able to stay in this game has enabled what some would term their superior conditioning to be brought to bear. 8-point lead now. The Heat very big favorites in this one now. James trying a 3 to try and cut into that, and Robinson almost traveled on the rebound. They are going to Jimmy Butler every single time here. About 6 possessions left in this one for the Lakers to make up 8 points. Butler wants to just go at Markieff Morris. Creates the space. Fade away. That's short. Good defense by Morris. LeBron looking to push it. Olynyk trying to get back. He docks it away from behind. Kelly Olynyk. What a play. One more bucket here for Miami, and they can just about salt this away. Hero trying KCP. Not an advantage matchup. Has to kick out. Robinson, deep 3. Misses over Davis. Robinson sprinting back. LeBron going to try and attack. They get the elbows against him, trying to lob it into Davis. Davis has gotten nothing, by the way, here, Danny. He hasn't even touched the ball. Morris, open for 3. They need it. He hits it. Big shot there by Markieff Morris as Duncan Robinson was guarding absolutely nobody.
Yeah. I don't even know if that was helping without helping. I think that was just not helping.
Heat got to keep scoring here. They give up the easy switch for Butler. Now they want KCP. I like the matchup of Butler on KCP a little bit more, but they're too late in the clock here now. Butler is going to have to create again, and this is so much effort. He goes in, and he's fouled. Bad foul by Caldwell Pope. And again, the Lakers just not helping enough. There's 2 on the shot clock.
There's a down and distance problem here, which is it's Jimmy Butler's isoing with 5 seconds left on the shot clock. It's too hard to make that pass and get the other shot up. And Anthony Davis is right there. He's guarding Kelly Olynyk basically by Jimmy Butler's right hand and doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, it's been crazy how uninvolved Davis has been on the offensive end. We haven't even talked about him in the slightest. And now Butler, 2 more free throws here, and he also got a nice little rest that you could tell he's exhausted. It is so hard to guard LeBron James on one end, and then every single possession you have to make a hard attack to beat a man off the dribble because he doesn't have the option of just pulling up for a 3-pointer off the dribble. That's not in his game. He's got to work every single time, even to beat inferior defenders.
And remember, the Lakers did not use their use it or lose it timeout. Frank Vogel elected not to.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler, this is one of the great finals performances that we've seen. 7-point lead. Lakers trying to move quickly now. Davis telling Morris to flip it to LeBron on the opposite side, guarded by Butler. Tries that Olynyk. LeBron triple team, somehow gets it out to Morris for a three. What a pass, but Morris cannot cash it out. That one could have cut it to 4 and given the Lakers some life, and now Miami can push it down near 1 minute. Another bucket here will end things. Butler going to attack Morris. Goes into him. Lays it in!
Good night. What a game by Jimmy Butler. 40 points, 10 rebounds, 12 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 14 of 20 from the field, 12 of 14 from the line. Absolute masterpiece.
Yeah, and it's important to note here, too, that he's doing this because he's got these one-on-one matchups because they're terrified of the Heat shooters. I mean, they've got Hero, Olynyk, and Duncan Robinson all on the floor out there, and so they just don't want to help off those guys. And at some point, I think they needed to change the strategy because, or maybe not give up the low-resistance switch as well. But, I mean, this Heat offense, they've got a lot of shooters, and Jimmy Butler has shown that he can create offense against pretty much anyone other than LeBron James and Anthony Davis for the Lakers.
So how do you think this changes the series? I mean, I don't want to get too much into what we're going to talk about on the pod in a little while, but I mean, some of this approach will continue, and we don't know whether Bam or Goran Dragic will be available for a game 4 or moving forward, but I mean, Jimmy Butler's been incredible.
Yeah, I mean, this is 2 45-minute games in a row for him. Like, he can't possibly play this well again next game, and particularly because they're going to try something different against him, obviously. But, I mean, this is really more of an offensive loss by the Lakers to me. And they just have to do more to get AD and LeBron going here. I mean, they set up a ton of three-pointers, 41 three-point attempts. So Lakers get it into Rondo. They're looking for Kuzma on the baseline, coming off some screens. Instead, LeBron will just go right in for the dunk, as Olynyk did not react. They did not want to give up a three-pointer, maintaining a 3-possession lead. Lakers trying to press up a little bit here now. Hero, a little bit shaky as a ball handler, going to try and attack. What did he do? He's going to get it and one. That's what he did.
And that was pretty ineffective defense by Rondo there. He was kind of standing by him, but wasn't really deterring anything. And I thought that was true even on the token ball pressure there. He wasn't really trying much.
He's fouling him basically the entire way.
The entire way.
Yeah.
And good for Tyler Hero to have that snarl when has a challenging game, but that was a beautiful finish. And I mean, his shooting has been an important part of opening up everything else in the Heat offense.
For sure, yeah. I mean, he's 6 out of 18 in this game for 17 points, but he does complete the three-point play, and it's now a 10-point Miami advantage. LeBron is just going to take the three. That contest by Jimmy Butler was hilarious, and Jimmy Butler sort of contested that three and still sprints back for the rebound. He has been so good in every area, particularly on the defensive glass. A well-earned triple-double, and he'll dribble the clock out here now. Robinson, without even his feet set, and he just bombs it in over Kuzma. And that's why they are sticking so close to those guys, because they can shoot it that well. But Miami, in the end, as Kuzma goes in for the stat pattern layup, will win it by double figures, it appears, and we'll have ourselves a series. We'll talk about it on Dunked On in just a second here. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll be back on Tuesday for a game that's actually going to matter. Love it.